Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bobble Pod. On this episode, we're going to be talking about using AI, artificial intelligence, in digital marketing. A big topic everywhere I go to present or talk, if I'm talking about SEO in particular or digital marketing strategy, everybody's talking about ChatGPT, artificial intelligence now, and how all that fits into digital marketing. So that's going to be the focus of the conversation today. But before we begin, as always, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe if you listen to any of our streaming platforms. If you're on YouTube, hello YouTube, don't forget to click on the bell notification and subscribe so you get up-to-date episodes every Tuesday. So, artificial intelligence is such a broad term when we think about AI today. Most people, when they think of AI, they probably think of your Alexas or Siris. Hopefully my phone doesn't go off when I say that. Stuff like the self-driving cars, automated delivery services, drones, from Amazon and stuff like that. Is that what you think, Callum, when you think of AI?
I do a little bit in the sense of, like you say, when we talk to our phones or our smart speakers, that little voice that comes at the end of it when you say, hey, insert your favorite smart speaker name there. When it activates, that's what I do think AI is at the moment. But like you say, I think it is changing.
Side note, I actually trained my iPhone to call me Bobble. Yeah, every day when I say like, Siri, what's my name? She goes, your name's Manni, but because we're friends, I get to call you Bobble. It used to be Bruce Wayne before then. Every guy wants to be Batman. But when we think of it, it's actually, AI is literally thousands of tools and apps running quietly behind the scenes, making our lives a little bit more straightforward, automating simple tasks or making predictions. And that's a key element. It's, there's automation and making predictions in terms of what you do. So just some data that I've pulled off from the Digital Agency Network in terms of source. So the global artificial intelligence market that's the global artificial intelligence market, is estimated to generate $433 billion in sales from 2020 to this year, 2023. So that's the data we have. So in the last 3 years, up until probably December, it's expected to generate around about $433 billion in sales. So a high profitable, high revenue market. Everything we do is automated. A lot of these apps and tools within our mobile phones, in everyday laptops, etc. And the biggest one that everyone's talking about is ChatGPT. I've already done a podcast about ChatGPT, my thoughts on that. So do go through the history and look into that. But essentially, let's start with how do companies use AI in digital marketing? So developing artificial intelligence helps businesses, brands, digital marketing agencies, firms create what we call various alternatives in the ways and methods of communicating with their target audience. A lot of that is an example in terms of like how AI features in platforms like Google, Facebook. We always talk about, when we talk about social media, video, SEO, we're talking about algorithms, essentially. That is the AI element to it. That's not AI in general, but that is an AI element. It's like, remember, go back to tools, apps running quietly in the background, all about automating simple tasks, making predictions, making our lives a lot easier. So it's all about, methods of communicating to your target audience. But AI can evaluate what we call processing big data in real time, which basically creates predetermined results, expectations, evaluations. Basically, marketers are able to then compete more competitively by adapting their marketing strategies, seeing the whole picture, what works. An element of that could be, what is now Google Analytics 4. And I'm actually going to be talking about Google Analytics 4 now on a couple of episodes. So after this recording, I've got a guest with Andrew Jacobs talking about attribution modeling. And then I think that follows great into a talk about GA4 and the migration that's happening from Google Analytics. So GA4 is a great example of basically AI bringing in all that big data and presenting the stats, the information that we see in real time, allowing us to process it, adapt, what's going on with your digital marketing and tools. So what is AI in terms of in digital marketing? So one of the areas that AI studies the most successfully integrated is experience such as big brands. And I mentioned this already. Facebook, Google use AI in their advertising platforms. It's as simple as that. They analyze user information such as what we call age, gender, areas of interest, locations. It shows ads to people or audiences whom it's relevant to that kind of business. So if you're a company and you're using Google Ads, all that's coming because it's looking at all those different kind of metrics. This results in basically a high return on investment from advertising. So AI in digital advertising is used by platforms like Google in a way to predominantly predict. And if you're in Google Ads, you see that every day with the optimization score that Google have created. So the optimization score gives you a score based on their AI in the background, giving what they call account recommendations. Google heavily relies on AI tools, systems, and processes, specifically when it comes to the SEO side of things, in terms of, how it determines how it ranks content, pages, landing pages, experiences, to the top of page. But also when you're in the Google Ads account directly, what you see is the account recommendations. Now, anyone who runs an agency or is in the PPC team or performance team within an agency, or if you're in-house in a company or marketing firm or, any kind of marketing department, you'll know that a lot of those recommendations are, it's BS. Some of them are good, useful. I'm not going to say, probably I'd say 50% of them are useful, 50% aren't, because as good as AI is, it doesn't understand your company, your objectives, its business, and how you differentiate yourselves to everyone else. And AI can't pulling the emotion, the niche, the differentiations of different companies. It uses a standardized model. Again, AI is a tool, systems, processes, apps that, automate certain systems and give you data. So it looks at a base level across everything. So it can't really determine by industry to an in-depth level or look at niches at that specific level. So those recommendations, as good as some of them are, they're not that great, because what we see is and Google, you do this, is a lot of the recommendations about increasing spend because they want more money to go into the platform. And I don't blame Google. You are a business. It's all about driving revenue and making a return on investment and showcasing why companies and people running ad accounts should spend more money. But not necessarily is it always true. Stuff like people calling up to apply auto recommendations. That is the AI element of Google that they call center and a call support staff from Google call up to say, do that. We don't allow auto apply recommendations on our ad accounts, no matter how many times Google does to us. Because if you auto apply recommendations to everything, you have zero control over what's actually been done and what keywords come in. You're basically letting an AI manage your Google Ads account. And as good as AI is or can be, it's not as good as an individual who has years of experience looking in a platform, who understands your company, or a marketing director that's been in a company for 10 plus years, understands the aims and objectives of the business, turn them into marketing aims and objectives, and applying that specifically. And they will have specific budgets that they can't go above, or they will have seasonalities where spend will be lower, and Google won't take that into consideration. If you're a company based on seasonality, it's not going to take into consideration seasonality. So that's where the AI recommendations and that element in digital marketing doesn't really work as well, because it's a blanket approach. So that's how AI works in digital marketing, and taking Google as a direct example. Then you've got AI in terms of content. And this is one element I kind of want to focus quite a bit on. Is I was doing a talk down at Brighton. So some of you know, I might have mentioned this in previous podcasts. We do things called marketing showcases. And as part of marketing showcases, we basically go to 12 locations around the UK. We do exhibitions. There's seminars that I host. I think I'm talking that 10 out of the 12. So I was talking down at Brighton, and my talk down in Brighton was why you're not ranking position 1 on Google, which was, a great, it's all about the name. So it's same with like what we try to do with the podcast names. We try to make it, the title, stand out to grab people's attention. It's as you do with the ads across platforms. You got to make sure that call to action, the first headline, really grabs attention from your audience to ensure that they either consume that content or read that content or interact with that content in some kind of way. So I was down in Brighton, so as a backtrack, and I did a talk about why you're not ranking number one on Google. And all the questions at the end were about AI, ChatGPT in SEO. So I did promise that when I go back next year, I will do talks about AI because it's too soon to talk about AI and to place platforms like ChatGPT into elements like SEO, because there's just no record or trend of the impact it has. We're still in learning phase, essentially, with it. So the talk talked about the basics are 3 pillars of SEO: technical, content, outlinks, updates that we're having. Very educational, a lot of checklists for them to take away. It was actually voted the best seminar talk of the day. Yay. So, I got one up on a couple of competitors down there that were talking. It felt good, not gonna lie. But what I took away from that, the feedback was based, because I obviously paid attention to the type of questions I was being asked. It was all about AI and ChatGPT. I've done that talk 3 times. I'm doing it 4 times. I actually changed my talk 4 times throughout the year. I started talking about Performance Max and how to optimize within Google. Now it's, why you're not ranking on page 1 on, Google. Then it goes into, the 3 pillars of paid social media. And then I'll talk about the £1 million digital marketing strategy. So it changes throughout the year because we want to showcase the type of agency we are. But that's a sidebar. So it's because of that why when we talk about AI and content, it's increasing. Basically, what AI is doing is it's increasing the impact on content marketing, specifically with audience targeting, getting basically what they say more straightforward with AI and digital marketing. Basically, using insights, marketers can reach more efficiency, attract more potential customers, and realize digital transformations. Now, everybody to some extent is using ChatGPT. I'm seeing it on LinkedIn. I'm seeing it on social posts. I'm seeing it in blogs and articles. You are putting yourself at a disadvantage. If myself and you, Callum, asked the same question of ChatGPT, it's more likely to give the similar response with overlaps because it's using the same data and insights.
I've noticed that a little bit when I've been playing around with it and trying to, for example, the descriptions on episodes for like Bobble Pod.
Yeah.
I've played around with it in the past to sort of go, what could I use this to help write descriptions? And 9 times out of 10, it does come back to that point of, it sounds similar. So like you might do one episode and then compare it to getting it to write another episode description notes, and they're similar in style or format.
Yeah. I mean, that is ChatGPT. Again, it's an application, it's a tool. But so many people are dependent on that AI that they forget that use it as, it's not there to replace everything, it's there to help adapt. So if you're using AI in content, and I'm going to address this straight away, there's no problem with using platforms like ChatGPT. We're using ChatGPT, but to a certain extent when it comes to AI. So it helps with, checking spelling and grammar. So, we'll put something in and then we'll ask ChatGPT, is this the optimum way to phrase this headline? Come up with other ways to express this headline. And it'll come up with a few responses. And if we think it's better, or we might make certain tweaks to it. That's great. We've already come up with the headline and we're just making sure that we're doing the best potential element and just getting different elements to make us think of, could we restructure that? Could we word that element? It's great from a perspective, let's say you're running Google Ads campaigns or paid social ads across Meta and you're trying to come up with multiple ads with multiple descriptions, headlines, call to actions. You can ask for it to give you a set of headlines, descriptions, and call to actions to stand out. But don't just copy and paste it. Use it as an element to start with. Say, give me a couple of examples and then write your own. At least that way you've got some templates, some content, some descriptions to work from. Same with Google Ads. With the responsive search ads, you've got 15 headlines and 4 descriptions you got to write. And you normally add a couple of responsive ads to every specific ad group. So that creates around about 30 headlines and 8 descriptions when you add it all together. Now that's very time consuming to write all those headlines. So that's where AI tools like ChatGPT can help increase efficiencies, time saving. They can write some of those headlines for you and you can adapt, but don't just take it as that's my job done. that will write all my headline descriptions, that will write all my meta tags and descriptions, that will write all my content for my SEO blogs, and I'm going to start ranking and everything because there's so many other fundamentals that you're not considering and not talking about that you have to take consideration. So that's AI in terms of content. Use the platform, use it, but don't use it to replace what you're doing already. Use it to create efficiencies, time savings, so you can do more. That's how you should be using it right now. Next year, it might change. Digital marketing with the, introduction of AI within digital marketing now at, a whole blanket to the whole niche. Whereas, like I said in this talk, it's AI used to be more around, what Google was doing, what Meta was doing in terms of the algorithms and the back end, Google Ads platform, etc. Now it's more in terms of processes, systems, and apps and tools. But I go back to that point where we're talking about it helps, process big data in real time. That's how we're using AI. I've mentioned my Bobble Insights platform. I haven't gone into too much detail on it, but the final phase of our Bobble Insights platform is AI. Because we're going to use AI to crunch all that data, everything that we've built, to then spit out recommendations and opportunities for us based on what we think are the key elements that need to be done. Because what that will do is save a lot of analysis time for the team. It'll streamline processes. It means we can make quick changes and updates to things within Google, within Meta, within LinkedIn, on SEO, within Bing and different platforms much quicker without having to do the manual analysis of it. That means we don't have to increase our fees with our clients because we can create efficiencies within existing clients. So our fees remain competitive longer because we've created those efficiencies and time savings within work, which is what clients really want longer term. So, and it helps us not understand, well, how many clients can someone manage? And basically, if we are ever strapped and we're trying to grow, which is what we're trying to do as an agency, that AI tool is going to help us streamline a lot of work and input, which means more time can go into servicing clients and optimizations, which is more the crux of what we do. In terms of my views, which I'm just going to summarize in AI, is you should be using AI in your digital marketing or at least experimenting with it right now. And that's a bold statement considering when we do audits and reviews for clients and they're still using images for meta ads and they don't have any kind of video content. And video was talked about years ago and how proficient it is, and people are still not using video yet. They just don't want to invest into like quick short video. And video has become so much more accessible and so much more affordable as well. But you need to be experimenting with using it. And I go back to stuff like if you are going to use an AI tool like ChatGPT, for example, experiment with it in terms of how would you write the description first and then ask the AI to do it. The benefit there is you can see is how good is the AI compared to someone who has 10 years experience of doing this and actually a proven track record of adapting meta titles and content and headlines to get you to position one on Google and to improve the quality score of your ads on Google Ads, for example, against what a tool says, and then compare an A/B test. I think you'll be surprised with the data that you see that actually the person with experience who understands the client will generally put out better from scratch written content than a platform like ChatGPT. Whereas if you don't have time efficiency you're looking to save it, then use ChatGPT to create the foundation baseline to save you time from starting from scratch. It'll come up with a couple of headlines, then by all means, adapt that and write your own. So instead of you having to do a lot of planning and research, you've already saved, you've already cut out the first two steps, essentially. You can readapt, essentially, and that just will make a lot of time savings. Remember, AI should not replace what you're doing right now. It should be an evolution to improve processes and systems, like I just gave. And ChatGPT is not the answer to everything. Simple as that. It's not the answer to everything. You can't just think, ChatGPT is going to do this, it's going to write this, it's going to give my opinion. It's not. I've seen very, very, very poor examples of content on LinkedIn, Facebook, where people use ChatGPT to give opinions. And to some degree, the platform is created by scientists that will either be from a political sense, either left or right, and they will infuse their views to some degree, whether they try to stay impartial or not, into the platform. And I've seen examples and research of that online. as well. So that's my talk about AI in digital marketing. I hope you found that useful, insightful. I just wanted to talk about it because the amount of questions and feedback I'm getting when I'm doing talks or seminars, I'm going out, a lot of the questions are becoming around about AI in systems and processes and within digital marketing. I will probably go into more detail about specific elements in upcoming episodes based on some of the feedback I get, but we need your feedback. So don't forget to comment on the YouTube video. Don't forget to, share on social media using @BobbleDigital, #AskBobble, #BobblePod. And as always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, listen, and follow us. We'll catch you in the next episode where we're going to be talking about marketing attribution, which is going to be very, very techy, but a very, very good one if you're struggling to understand why you're not connecting the dots from your platform to your sales in your company. Thank you for listening.